I'm I have increased my quipping capacity.
You're a quipper now. You're big on the quipping.
Okay. Well, I don't know about that, but what I do know about is this episode of Humor Highwire has 2 segments, just like every other
Shit,
episode.
we started.
Yeah.
Well. You caught me unaware.
Yeah. I just pressed the record button and decided it's time now.
Well, all right. So what are we doing today?
Well, we have some interesting stories. I know mine is a little it's interesting. Until recently, I didn't realize it had a kind of problematic side, so we'll see how that goes.
I love problematic sides. I love
Mine is only
problematic content.
Yeah. It's a little beyond belief. And later on, we're going to discuss how sometimes magic spells can trip you up if you're not careful with our table talk segment this time around. But first, this.
It's time for the Humor Highwire.
It's cut at the end, so you won't hear this part.
What?
Yeah. Anyway.
What do you mean it's cut it? I heard the whole thing.
Yeah, I know, but when you go to edit it, I cut like back half part of it out.
I don't.
Because the intro is so long. We established this. We talked about this already. I sent samples in the Discord like a month ago, and you guys were like, yeah, that sounds good. And now you're just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what's crazy? I've been using the same one this whole time.
Yeah, so have I.
Good. Great.
It's like nothing ever changes.
But listen, what you do is you use it, but you don't like cut any of the audio, and you just play it at like 20% volume, and you let the audio go.
Okay. Well,
sometimes, yeah.
It's just nice that for any listeners that we do have, they're now going to know that all 3 of us edit the episodes differently, so it's just a totally different experience every single time.
Build the lore.
Comment
I can't wait to visit our Reddit.
Us. Let us know who's editing which episode. Who do you think edits each episode?
Yeah. Okay, so our first segment is talking about some articles in the news that are a little bit difficult to contemplate. Some of these things are a little bit hard to digest, I think.
Some are pretty gay. Yeah.
Okay.
I have no words. This is literally beyond belief.
Just know that that's playing right after you say that.
Dude, Donald Trump could be gay.
Okay.
You don't know.
We're all gonna get sent to El Salvador.
For calling Donald Trump gay?
Oh yeah.
He's a happy guy. What can I say?
Cool. Okay. So we got some Beyond Belief articles for you guys. Who wants to go first?
You know what? It just transitions so well into mine, you know. All right. Today we're going to be talking about the TSA and how their security scanners turn you gay.
No.
No.
All right, so there's this Christian pastor who went on a podcast called Contra Mundum.
Holy moly.
His name. Should I give the name? Yeah, sure. Fuck it.
Like, who are you talking about?
This
Yeah,
pastor. So
is
this
he a public figure? Like.
He is now. So his name is Andrew Isker. Who knows? He was on this podcast, and he was talking to his co-host, and he was essentially said that he prefers being frisked by TSA agents instead of going through.
I saw this.
Instead of going through what he called the gay beam.
Oh.
The TSA scanners.
I saw this in a TikTok. I didn't realize it was this big of a thing. I thought it was an old clip. No.
So he later on in the podcast does acknowledge, he says, well, it kind of sounds, it kind of sounds like having men frisk you might come off as gay, but you don't really know what the TSA scanners are going to do to you. And I don't know what they can see. Like, am I going to let them see me naked? I don't think so. And I was like, what? This guy clearly has zero education.
I wasn't going to go that far, but what I was going to say is that the best way to find out what something does is to research it and learn what it does, and not just go, oh, it's going to turn you gay because it's a gay beam. Like, what? How does that even, what?
Yeah,
like,
gotta love it.
I don't, like, I don't have a working knowledge of exactly how those machines work, but I've been through them several times because I've had to go places sometimes, and you know what? I am currently unshakably hetero, so I don't know where the evidence for this is.
You gotta stay away from the beams. You gotta stay away from the beams, Ian.
Is there fluoride in the water, and is it turning the frogs gay?
It's getting everybody. When you go through the airports, they're shooting you up with a beam. They're looking at your junk.
What?
They're staring straight at it.
Stop.
What is this?
You sound like RFK is like he's either actively having an aneurysm or something much worse.
He just woke up. He's a little groggy today.
It feels like he's always groggy. Like I don't I don't want
Sounds
to talk
like
about this man anymore. I don't want to
chewing on gravel and also always out of breath.
So is there anything more to this article of your gay beam pastor? Is there anything else to it?
No. I just thought that was a hilarious thing.
It is a hilarious thing. So, have you guys ever heard of the compliment sandwich?
Yes.
Yes. It's like you say something nice and then you put in the criticism and then you put something nice at the end of it.
Are we doing that with the gay pastor?
No. So we're doing that with your thing that's funny, and then my thing, which I thought would be funny, but as I researched it more, is much less funny than I thought it was.
It might make me laugh. We'll see.
Guys,
we'll see. And then there's going to be...
Dear listeners, I have some horrible news for you. For the first time ever on this show, Ian CK is coming in, and he's going to bring something that's not funny.
What's happening? What is that?
Wow.
What are we doing? We're opening with the hey, Ian, I think you've been really funny lately. We're moving. Then the next thing you do is an RFK Jr. impression, and then you hit him with for the first time ever, Ian is not saying something funny. You're all over the place.
I'm on my special arc today.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well,
I woke up ready.
We all know that I'm not very funny. I'm more of a, let me tell you why you're
What'd
wrong.
you did to Ian?
You are. You're funny. You're funny.
No,
You're funny.
it's okay.
You just like to bring the serious
you
stuff.
for a minute here. Let me depress everybody here. My article is about Oxford University. So let's just premise that. Have you guys ever seen like or heard of like the how do I put this? Like the antagonists in like medieval like historical fictions who are just like, I'm gonna, chop off your head and drink wine from your skull and those kinds of guys. Are you familiar with that archetype?
No.
Yes.
What the all right, can you give me a quick example? Like just name someone. Super pop.
I can't at the moment.
Okay. I'm gonna chop your head off and eat your intestines?
No. So the idea is that like they're like killing somebody and then taking their skull and drinking out of it as like a wine cup.
You know what?
Yeah, like Genghis Khan style.
Or like an orc?
Yeah.
Like an orc?
Right, exactly, like that. So
Okay.
academics at Oxford University did this
What the fuck?
for a time.
What the fuck? What is it? What do you mean?
Here's the context. You ready? Okay, so the thing that's confusing me a little bit is that the usage of said skull stopped in 2015 completely. So I don't know why it's being reported on like 10 years later. I think maybe the info like just dropped style. But Oxford University academics drank from a human skull chalice. So this skull was donated to the college in 1946. It was already in the form of like a chalice, and workers decorated it with a silver rim and a stand for this skull for like what's the word I'm looking for? Not rituals, but for like important events and things like that, like inter-school stuff or like really important things, they would bring it out and drink wine from it as like a thing. Festive occasions, they would call it. And apparently in 2011 they were using it very seldomly, and in 2015 they fully stopped using it. Now, this is kind of weird or kind of metal depending on what your take is, but here's the thing that I learned not but 10 minutes before we started recording that made it go from, well, that's kind of odd and maybe slightly interesting or funny to, oh no. Some archaeological investigation has been done into this skull, and they have found that it most likely was tied to, well, the skull itself is from a woman from the colonial era who probably, most likely, was an enslaved person at the time. So, how this person's skull came to become a chalice in this timeline here is unknown to a certain degree, but it is known that through carbon dating that the skull is somewhere in the neighborhood of like 200 years old, kind of right around that time frame. So yeah, it was something that I thought would be interesting, hard to believe, and then it got dark. Classic branding right there.
That brings a lot of emotion forward.
Links into the show notes, guys. Links in the show notes if you want to.
It was a really good piece, though, like legitimately.
Yeah, I believe that the reason that it's being reported on now is because there's been some information that was given to the media recently by individuals within the university who saw this as an issue that should be brought up.
My God, they were keeping it under wraps this whole time?
I don't know if it was necessarily keeping it under wraps, but it was one of those things where it's like, oh, Oxford University people at Oxford University events, and why would you think it's a good idea to talk about the skull that people drink out of sometimes? That's probably not something that you bring up in any other context other than when you're doing it right then and there.
Does this count as cannibalism?
No, I would not say so.
No, it's.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure. I mean, they're not consuming the skull.
Well, they are.
You're
They
using
are
it
to
as
an
a
extent.
receptacle.
Yeah, I mean, some of that skull, for sure, is getting inside of them.
Okay, so by that standard, everybody everywhere is a cannibal.
You're right.
Justin, what do you have?
Okay.
Go ahead, follow that one up, Justin.
I'm sorry. I keep thinking these things are going to be like a little off color and funny, and then they're just not.
Just the like villain energy.
Yeah, from Oxford
Oozing.
University.
Just think about the
Oozing
gay
from-
pastor.
Oxford University. All right. We're gonna bring this back. So
Gay bean.
we're gonna bring this back. So how you guys like the foster system?
Okay,
What the
no.
fuck?
Oh no.
This is not.
Is this? Oh, wait a minute. Is this an open-faced sandwich? Is that what this is?
We got one piece of bread on the bottom, and then just orphan tears for the
Orphan tears into a skull chalice.
So there is mine was, so what we were supposed to do here is laugh a little bit and then like slowly like cringe and get upset. And so yeah. So here's the article title. Foster mom is charged with abuse as authorities investigate whether a girl was traded for a monkey.
Wait, traded for?
Yes.
As in, like,
as in like
Hi,
Pokemon.
I have this girl right here. Can I give her to you for this monkey?
Yes, you
What?
heard me right.
Context, please.
Yeah. So basically, in Missouri, there's this woman. She's 70 years old.
Of course, it's Missouri.
And she has been the foster parent to around, get this number, 200 children over the span of a decade. You know, one of them foster farmers. Love those folk. And so this particular girl, I guess the woman had like friends with somebody from Texas who was like, they knew each other from both owning like exotic animals and going to like exotic animal conventions. They're things like I've been to them. And so I guess 2 witnesses came forward because they, you know, of course, after the fact of being, you know, they felt guilty after being asked to take this child to Texas and return with a monkey. The investigators on the case were asked by the press to firm up if this was a joke or actually a trade. And the quote, like, I know this is serious, but the quote was a little much. The investigator says, "There's some smoke there. We just got to find out if there's fire, and it'll take us some time." Like, what do you have to look for? Is the girl there or is she not? And does this woman have a monkey or does she not? But anyway, the girl, by the way, was there and was there for an extended amount of time and is currently still there in Texas with this other individual. The monkey.
Like, how? I don't like, if they know where she is and she's not where she's supposed to be, why is she still there?
So I
Is this legal?
I don't know.
Does it law?
So I don't know if she's been recalled or not back into the system by this point. This was an AP News article today, or, you know, very recently. It'll be linked in the show notes. But basically, she was staying. The person from Texas is alleging that she was staying with them to provide some space between her and the foster mother, like they were maybe like conflicting with one another. And the way it was worded when the witnesses came forward of like, bring her down and bring back a monkey, theoretically it could be, you know, that she was going to spend some time with them and it wasn't like a trade, but I'm just saying she's up one monkey and down one child. And the Texas person has tried to return her and says they don't want her like staying with them any longer. And the foster parent is refusing to like accept her back. And that's where like the police became involved as well. Like, I know I think the article says I believe she's currently jailed. Yeah, she's jailed on a $250,000 bond, arrested over the weekend.
So it's not legal.
Yeah, the quick answer is it does not law.
It does not, in fact, law. It is not law. Has there been any like statement from the girl? Like, did they ask her anything? Is there anything about that? Like,
so the girl said, all the girls really, what they have as quotes from the girl is about stuff that's happened to her. She claims with the foster mom that she was beaten with wooden trim, shoes, and a paddle as well. She said that, what was the other quote? Oh, she said she wasn't like abused or sexually advanced upon while in the care of the other individual. So nothing bad was happening to her like while she was with the other person in Texas, according to her. But she was like mistreated with the foster parent, which unfortunately is not always such a surprising thing, especially for somebody who's, the term I use, the foster farmer. When you see somebody who over the span of 10 years has processed through 200 children, usually they're looking for checks from the government with numbers like that. And so it's a lifestyle choice and a sustaining of income choice rather than, something that you're trying to do for good.
Wait. The part of this story that is just throwing me off is this foster parent traded the child for a monkey?
Yeah.
Of all things. I mean,
do we know what kind of monkey?
It doesn't specify in the article.
Why not? There's so many different kinds of monkeys.
It's true.
Regardless of what monkey it is, they're not easy to take. I would argue the children are easier to take care of than monkeys.
Well, yeah, probably. But I just kind of wanted to know what kind of monkey it was.
Additionally,
I hope it's a capuchin.
Her living conditions in Texas were described as unsanitary, and she was inadequately supervised. I'm going to go on a limb and say it's highly likely that it was unsanitary because the person she was staying with is literally somebody who trades in exotic animals. So that tracks very well.
Yeah, what's the deal with the Texas person? Are they being brought up on human trafficking charges? There's so much to this that is just so weird and why?
You want to know what's crazy? I'm rereading this article right now while we're talking about this. This woman, over the course of 15 years, she's still currently a foster parent as of when this article was written. Over the course of 15 years, there were about 250 calls to a child abuse hotline about her. That's more than the amount of kids that she took in.
How are you able to keep doing the thing when so many times people are telling you that she's not able to do the thing correctly? And now she traded the thing for a monkey, allegedly. The thing meaning being a foster parent. And I would never call a human being or any living creature a thing, obviously.
I know.
But I would.
And then the quote is so another quote by this investigator. He's on fire here. On its face, it just seems like there was a systemic failure somewhere, and we're looking into it to see if that is the case, how it can be addressed, and the extent that there's any criminal behavior associated with it. We'll look into that as well.
How do you not? Okay.
I don't like this guy.
My friends, I give you the open-faced sandwich of the flattened out white bread gay beam topped with monkey and skull chalice. It's been good. It's been good. A lot of stuff to think about. The nature of human beings and the things that they do.
Every time we do this segment, at least it's not at the end of the episode.
We're going to end one with it next time. And we're going to all bring sad articles.
No, I think Beyond Belief should always be the first part.
The last time we did this, it was the last segment.
You're right.
Ian finished it off.
I did. Somebody got lethally home alone.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me what it was.
Sorry.
Editor, put a picture of the robot.
Nope. Sorry. Cutting it out. Okay. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed that segment and it provoked some thought within you. But we're gonna move on to our next segment where we're gonna be talking about some magic spells. It's time for table talk.
My beloved ones, it is time for a table talk.
What the
that
fuck
transition
was that?
is cooking.
No, what happened?
I didn't say anything about it the first time I listened to it. I put it in and I didn't want to say anything about it until somebody else noticed it.
What the hell?
Just the abrupt shift.
What? It starts with music and then ends with completely different music.
I mean, we could talk about just not running the normal transition music and just keeping the little heavenly chorus in there.
Yeah, for that one maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that in post.
Yeah, we're leaving it for the listeners for this one.
Yeah, for this one. Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right. So this table talk, we're talking about magic spells, specifically cantrips. So for anybody who's not familiar with the game, a cantrip is a magical spell that if you know it, you can cast it as many times as you want. It doesn't use up any resources. You just get to do the thing as often as you would like, as long as you follow the rules associated with it. So the question for the group right now is, if you could choose one cantrip to know in real life, what would it be? So we're not all fighting to go first. I did a picker wheel ahead of time, and it came up as Matt going first. So, Matt,
God,
what cantrip would you pick in real life if you could?
I'm so happy I got first.
Yeah.
Except I'm actually not, because there are a few that I was like, oh, this might be cool. This might be cool. And I'm going to go with Eldritch. No, I'm kidding.
Could
I'm
you
kidding,
imagine?
I'm kidding.
Because here's the thing. No. There's a case to be made for this if you're like a soldier, because Eldritch Blast, like, if you were to put that in like real world mechanics, Eldritch Blast is basically like a death beam as long as it hits.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
For those of you who are not tabletop enthusiasts or D&D enthusiasts, Eldritch Blast is basically just a purple fireball of force energy.
It's a ray of punch, and it does enough damage on average mechanically to just obliterate a standard like,
2 people.
common person.
Yeah,
on
2
average.
people worth of health, usually.
So if you're a soldier on the battlefield, you're just running around pew-pewing people with your hands and calling it a day.
Yeah, so that's not what I'm picking. I'm actually going to go for the more practical mending.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like the ability to just magically fix anything that has no more than 1 foot worth of damage. I mean, a foot is a lot.
That's pretty true, yeah. I mean, especially if you're in a situation where something's broken like in half. Most of the time when something breaks in half, it's less than a foot, so you could just kind of stick it back together and go, doop, there you go.
Yeah. And then, depending on the DM, they might let you sit there and channel mending forever.
Wow. This is
Fix the giant sail.
This is making me think I want to do a draft of D&D spells.
That's interesting. It would have to be limited to like specific classes, or specific
non-damaging,
levels.
maybe.
Yeah, or like a limiter like that, because like
we're going to talk about this. The next draft is going to be D&D spells.
Okay. So is that's your pick? That's what you're going with? Mending?
Yeah, I think mending was the one that spoke to me the loudest.
All right, cool.
The list.
So I did the picker wheel again ahead of time. Sorry, Justin, it came up me, so I'm going next.
I have a pick. A pick that I definitely want.
Well, I'm sorry if I'm going to take what you were going to pick. So I'm going to crash out. I too gave some thought to damaging cantrips and thought, if I take any of these, I'm immediately going to get like arrested or like picked up by the government to figure out like what's going on here. I feel like I need to pick something that's kind of under the radar that you don't really see actually happening, but affects everything. I'm going to be taking the guidance cantrip because mechanically you can use this for pretty much anything that you're trying to do, aside from like hitting people or like not get blown up, but like any active thing that you're trying to accomplish, it can help you be anywhere between 5 and 20% better at whatever you're trying to do. You lost your keys, you're rolling an investigation check to try and find your keys. You add some guidance on there, 5 to 20% better at doing that. You're trying to pass a biology test, that's a nature check. You roll.
You're getting kicked out by the proctor the moment you start casting a spell mid-test.
See, but here's the thing: there's no predetermined. There's no predetermined thing that anybody knows what magic is. Like, it's just you have this little skill that you get to do. But I get what you're saying. So sure, I'll cast it right before I walk in, and then hope that I can start the test.
You've
within
got
the
a
first
you've
minute.
got a minute. Yeah.
I've got a minute to blast through it and find the one thing that I don't know very well and go, okay, I'm gonna try to do this one right now. But even still, like, okay, how about something a little bit more specific? Like, I'm on a camping trip and I don't want to be embarrassed with my inability to do something, so I'm gonna roll a survival check. Or let's see, I'm trying to lift something heavy, an athletics check. I'm trying to squeeze through a tight space or not fall on my face. That's an acrobatics check.
Well, not fall on your face. That you're probably looking more at resistance than guidance.
Try to do something to then not fall on my face if I don't do it well.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. So I'm taking the guidance cantrip because I feel like it has the most versatility and it's the most low down thing that I could think of, because it does have a verbal component, but it could just be like, please, deity that I believe in, help me. Bada boom, there you go. Here's a little magic. 5 to 20% better at everything you do in your life.
I need 2 lodestones. I have a material component.
So you need 2 magnets.
Yeah, I need 2 magnets.
Holding some magnets next to something,
Also,
which are magically knit back together.
Yeah, I gotta do that. I gotta move my hands around because there's a somatic component and there's a verbal component. So like,
just holding 2 magnets together and just like moving it along something and be like, fix thyself.
Yep, that's me.
And just yelling at something to fix itself, and it does it magically. Okay, Justin, what are you picking?
Okay, so I think both of your guys' cantrips are very like utility focused and very like
He's taking Eldritch Blast.
very, very dedicated to achieving things, and
He's taking Toll the Dead.
I really want to make them suffer. No, I'm just kidding.
Vicious mockery.
I'm about efficiency and leverage. And so what I really want to do is just make life a little bit easier and a little bit more interesting. So that's why the cantrip I'm going to be taking is prestidigitation.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what prestidigitation does, for those of you who don't know, is you can do a couple different things with it. It's very versatile. You can create little like funky effects around you. They could be visual, they could be any sense oriented, basically. You can light fires. So, that camping scenario, like lighting the campfire, no problem. I snap my fingers, it's lit. Cleaning, this is a big one. Showers, who needs them? You can literally prestidigitation yourself clean anytime that you want. Minor sensation, you can like chill or warm things, so don't need a microwave, don't need a fridge. Well, you probably still need a fridge, but you get the idea. Like you can cool down your drink if you want to. You can heat up something. You can make marks on stuff, and you can even create little trinkets. So it's a really well-rounded spell, and most importantly, it leverages a lot of mundane tasks, which is, I think, very useful because I hate chores. And prestidigitation is a spell that helps with chores a lot. So that's why I'm going to be taking it.
Nice. I mean, that's a solid one. A shout out to Mage Hand, by the way.
Yeah,
that was like our second pick. I think each of us probably.
Actually, not me. I never considered Mage Hand because from my perspective, I was thinking about, let me take things that are useful but also don't make it obvious that I'm like doing some crazy supernatural shit that just doesn't exist anywhere else other than me. So like if I just make a spectral hand out of nowhere, somebody's gonna
it's cool, dude.
that.
Yeah, nobody will be mad at it. It's just a floating hand.
You say that. I had 3 picks lined up depending on where I ended up in the order. So it was going to be guidance, always guidance, because guidance is broken.
Yeah, it's
just
good.
In general. The next one was going to be spare the dying. So if I can't be good at everything, I'm just going to
be a doctor.
Yeah, a doctor, or like the bossest EMT that ever lived.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then if those two got taken, I would have bit the bullet and took prestidigitation.
Oh man, what about message?
Message, I had thought about message, and honestly, I don't really feel like there's any use for it in our modern world. Like, message is basically a crappier version of a walkie-talkie,
I don't know
or
if
like
it's crappier.
or like an earpiece. It's like, okay.
It's also quieter.
I mean, kind of.
You just don't need it.
Yeah, but
these
you also have
days,
to like actually
You have
point
to
at
point,
somebody.
yeah. Dude. That is so funny. Like the idea of like if us three all took message, right, and we're all like sitting in a circle, like we're just pointing at each other, casting message.
It seems very pointless to me.
I think it.
Okay.
So I could just list out my runners up. I had Mage Hand secondary, and then I had Control Flames actually as the third one.
You're
I I had looked at the control spells, and I almost took Mold Earth or Shape Water, but my problem with that is that those effects only last for an hour.
Weren't those all replaced with elementalism?
No, they were not. Elementalism is its own thing. Elementalism is basically a spell that lets you do all four of those things, but significantly worse in every respect.
Yeah, I
looked
just
into this
thought
heavily.
Control-
Elementalism is a bad cantrip.
Control Flames is just a
Yeah.
super cool, like, you're just the cool person in the magic sphere. Like, you can do shows with that and stuff.
Yeah, you definitely can. The reason that it didn't like hit me as far as like that's something I want to take is because I have a very utility based mindset, and I just don't come across that many open flames in the world right now. So I come across water and dirt all the time, though.
Yeah,
So-
that's why, I mean, it has to be a show.
Yeah.
You get on a stage and you have a couple, like, fires going, and then you just go to town. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, I
Right.
totally get that.
And there's probably one or two cantrips that are better than Eldritch Blast if you're a sorcerer. Or, I mean, not a sorcerer, a soldier. The first one is Acid Splash,
No,
and the second one is probably Word of Radiance.
both
Of those are area of effects, so like you can
You
kill
can
a
get more
lot
people.
of people.
You
Yeah,
can get
so
a
but
lot
here's
of
the thing.
people.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Word of Radiance, you have to be like next to somebody to use it. That's
You
the
walk
drawback of
in,
that.
no weapons, no armor. You put your hands in the air. You act like a hostage.
Okay,
and then
cool.
You hit them with the Word of Radiance, and they all just fucking die around.
yeah,
you, dude.
sure, great. That works if all of the bad guys are right next to you at that exact moment. If any one of them is more than 10 feet away, you just die in the next instant.
Dude,
It
no one
doesn't
will
matter.
know. All right, you're right.
How do you
Acid
know?
Splash. Acid Splash just kills everyone, dude.
It's just anyway. I don't know. Honestly, the most bang for your buck is still probably going to be Eldritch Blast, in my opinion. But
Yeah, because
Yeah, I
as you
mean,
kill
you
more
shoot a
people
bunch
and
of
become
beams.
more powerful, your Eldritch Blast gets better.
yeah, so many beams. And
You
at
shoot a
that point,
lot of beams.
at that point, like you only need one upgrade before you're doing basically the same thing that Acid Splash does, except you get the chance to crit.
Yeah. And push
yeah,
people
you get a chance
away.
to crit.
You could
And
snipe
let's
with
be
it.
real, if you have Eldritch Blast, you're probably a warlock, which means you've got a patron, which means you're gonna do other spells too, probably.
I just
It's
took
like a
Magic
door.
Initiate.
It's a door to a whole lifestyle.
Yeah, you could curse people.
So
and kill them even harder.
we are going in an entirely other direction. Maybe something for a different table talk. But I think these are some pretty good choices. Listeners, email us, comment, what cantrips would you take if you had this opportunity? I want to know. Please tell me.
Yeah, welcome to Humor Highwire.
Yeah, welcome to Humor Highwire. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your day, week, time, however much time you need. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. I love the abrupt stop. I usually edit that out.
It's so good.
Yeah, let it go down. Oh, I should stop recording.